All right, hello, hello. Here we have Ionia semifinals between Players Reborn and Poppin Papis. Um, I'm Sheepshead, casting today with my friend Robotics, uh, and
That's right.
getting a little help from our hosting friend Stebby. So looking forward to this last of the two second to last game in the gauntlet for Ionia here.
Which is the highest division here in CEAL. So these should be pretty spicy games.
Getting into pro
And you know,
drafts here pretty
Sheepshead,
soon.
it's always a barn burner when we've got players reborn playing Poppin and Pappies.
It really is. This is yeah, proverbial barn burner. I'd say whole warehouses could be burned uh
Oh,
to match
absolutely,
this.
absolutely. You could put any sort of cattle feed in there, and that'll go up in flames.
Really long enough to burn all night well into the next evening, you know?
Yep, yep,
Make it a 2-day affair, really.
yep. Could could go for 10 days and 10 nights. Make it those biblical events.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so we're just getting flamed in the chat. Waiting to see if we're gonna start this pro draft yet.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta get the draft going. I'm gonna go draft myself a beverage.
Nice, nice. I got a iced tea myself. Anyone in Twitch chat have anything to share? What are we sipping on? Refreshments? Anyone got any snacks?
Iced tea, pink lemonade. Anybody?
As far as context for the game, Ionia was pretty competitive this season. Team Tanuki is the first seed, waiting on the results of today. Um, Previous game was versus Order of the Sacred Llama. Pop and Pappy's winning a 2-0 that day. Second game was a little bit close, but Pop and Pappy's really showing that they're pretty heavy contender. They had some problems with their mid laner Cyanite not being able to play a number of games during the regular season, which is possibly why they are lower in the standings. Um,
He
and
is
I
back
think
for
this is
playoffs, so
yes, and
not
so
to be slept on.
Players Reborn, a team that's
All right,
been
looks
in
like
Ionia for a while.
we are in draft here. So
Okay, enough stalling.
Yoruban,
Yeah, Pop and Pappy's played that
Leafs.
2 times in a row versus Order of the Sacred Llama in the top lane. Cheese Blaze didn't really pop off on it either time. Um, they won both games, but um, at a glance, kind of an interesting ban. Kind of shows they might be picking something melee, something that doesn't deal well with a Fiora in the top lane.
Yep.
Okay, rapid fire
Pop
bans
and
now.
Pappies is an Akali main, so definitely makes sense
Yeah,
that Pop and Pappy's mid laner. I mean, Cyanide
yeah,
is an
Cyanide.
Akali main.
Ezreal's another really good ban. Super oppressive in the meta right now, in my opinion.
First pick Varus, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Thresh or something else to kind of help Varus get a little more mobility, or maybe something to follow up on Poke. Gwen
Lulu pick
Lulu's a
from Pop and
solid pick.
Pappy's. Yeah, yeah. Lulu makes me think it's probably gonna be something like Jinx in the bot lane. Gwen is an absolute terror late game, so definitely can struggle in the laning phase. But if she's managed to get out of it, uh,
Karma's
Karma
set.
Varus, if that is a bot lane Karma, is pretty frustrating to lane into. They have a lot of poke. Yeah, there's the Jinx.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the Gwen set matchup goes. I feel like late game, Gwen just rolls over the entire game.
Yeah,
So that wasn't
I think
banned
that
and Senna was banned instead seems a little suspect.
my understanding of Gwen is that she does struggle into melee matchups in the top lane in lane, but that could be wrong. She may be able to kite set out, and I also don't
Not a champion
know much
I've
about that.
played a whole
Yeah,
lot yet, to
yeah,
be honest. It's a blind spot of mine. But I do think, yeah, they've got to capitalize on the set winning early, or that's going to be a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
The Xin Xiao was a good ban too to kind of prevent the Gwen Xin combo
Yeah.
of two champions that both can't get uh, dealt
Damaged.
with by long range champions like Karma and Varus.
Varus. Yeah.
Yeah, it creates two divers who can just dive the front line and not be affected by the back line, just kind of solo the tanks. Ooh, Poppy.
Hey, we've got a
I think that might be
Poppy in the
pretty good
jungle,
against
likely.
Diana Gwen. I think that looks like a really
Yeah.
smart
More
adaptation.
interesting.
Although I think,
Diana
wait,
is
is this?
probably in the jungle as well, although it
I
could be a
think
flex.
I think the top laner on Players Reborn is a bit of a Poppy player,
Could be set in
if
the
I
jungle.
recall.
Alright, I'm very
Okay,
confused now. This is probably
this is
Trundle jungle, set top, and Poppy,
set mid.
set mid and Poppy top, I'm guessing.
Yeah, set mid.
Although they could just be choosing the solo lane matchup based on the matchups, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a Victor
I
in the mid lane,
anticipate
Diana jungle.
Poppy doing really well against Gwen.
I, th- I would guess that matchup goes in Poppy's favor quite heavily as well. Gwen relies on her dash for both range and damage, so um, if Poppy's able to stop it,
Yeah, they've got. It's a little bit of a. It's a little bit of a interesting choice with the Varus. Um, I can see what they're doing with on Players Reborn side. They've got the three melee um, Juggernaut off tank bruiser kind of comp with the Karma, which I think is solid, but the Varus feels pretty shut down by Gwen. I think it's rough because I don't know. It's a
yeah, yeah.
single major threat comp unless the Trundle can get really strong or the set.
Even then, Trundle doesn't really have any great targets to ult because no one's going to be stacking resistances on Pop and Pappy's side, so it actually does feel pretty bad when you're playing Trundle and you don't have a target that's going to have any additional armor or MR.
Poppin Pappies where on the other hand has three. Yeah, like you said, they're not gonna be stacking resistance because they've got three or four, excuse me, strong damage threats. Come late
Yep.
game. Um,
Yep.
it's
I
pretty
do
clear to
think.
me that Players
Yeah.
Reborn is gonna have to make some moves in the early game. They're gonna have to
Yep.
get some
Yep.
powerful plays off based on the interactions of Poppy and Gwen, for instance,
Hmm.
and start snowballing dragons or something along those lines. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, Pop and Pappies are going to have a very easy time winning come late game.
Yep.
35 minutes or so. If it's an even 5v5, I don't see Players Reborn being able to deal with what they have
Yeah,
lined against them.
I think that whether or not the draft is better on Pop and Pappy's side, I think it's definitely easier to play. Varus needs to be in the correct position at all times because if he gets caught out by Diana without Poppy standing next to him, he's pretty much fucked, I think.
Yeah, and they really just won't have the damage to deal with a four threat comp. They're gonna have to do something early.
Yep.
I kind of see what they're doing, but yeah, the Poppin Papis just have too many strong late threats. Diana's a really, really strong champion recently, by my reckoning.
Yeah, I think Diana feels really good to play right now. I think she feels really good in the jungle. A lot of agency, able to make plays early.
I think they're
And
picking the melee bruisers to kind of negate her a little bit, so she doesn't have as many people to jump on, and the Poppy naturally will make her life a little more difficult. But Varus is a
but it's on
very
the Poppy,
mobile
it's
champion.
on the Poppy, and it's on the Karma to be in the position to protect Varus, because if Varus dies to Diana, he gets caught out. They have basically no damage left.
Yeah. I'm
It's a
really
set
excited to see what
support
they
as
do
well,
though,
which
because it looks like they're ready to make some early plays here um with their
yeah.
picks. They think these lane matchups, which all seem to be in their favor for the most part. Oh, and here we have the Karma mid
Mm-hmm.
set support. I just noticed. Yeah, so we're
We'll see
gonna
how
wait
that
a
goes.
couple minutes on the
We do
spectator
know,
play.
as we've cast a game with players Reborn before, that TTU Phoenix is a pretty monstrous Poppy player. I do
Yeah,
remember
that
him
was.
picking that
I didn't notice
in the
that when they
top
first
lane.
picked it, but absolutely, kind of
Yeah. Does feel good
did
on
some
that
good
champ.
work.
It's not a random pick for them. So
The Karma mid, I think I like that too. I don't know if that was what they planned on doing. It probably was. Because I think the Karma's gonna have a lot better time against Victor than the Set would. I don't know if with good spacing, Victor can just farm early game versus a
I
Set,
think that's
I
true.
think, and just avoid confrontation, which is all he wants. Whereas the Karma might be able to be able to push lane and
Mm-hmm.
use their
She
pressure and
should be
maybe
able to
make
at least
something
push
happen with.
against Victor early.
I
Yeah.
think that's key because this Players Reborn team is going to need to make plays with the Trundle and the
Yeah.
Karma roaming on these scuttles, and then working off the fact that they've got what looks to be 3 winning lanes and a Trundle that can get massive against Diana. And if they can't execute that, if they can't get the first 2 dragons off that, I think that their game looks really hard. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that.
would you how Robotics? How would you feel if you were put yourself on a side here and
I'd
play
certainly
play one
rather
of these
be
comps?
on. I'd rather play the Poppin' Pappies comp. Um, Partly because I am a Diana player and I'm not a Trundle player, but I think that they have a much easier win condition, and I think that if the early game doesn't go the way that Players Reborn wants, they're gonna have a really hard time closing out the game. I think even in the higher tier CEAL leagues, I think the betting on yourself in the early game doesn't always go the way that you want. So I think it's a little safer. I think they can play it out. The Victor has excellent wave clear. Jinx and Victor can wave clear forever, so they could just turtle and play for the late game on Pop and Pappy's side. And what about you?
I think I agree, and I think the same could be said about as far up as LCS.
Yeah,
Maybe even
yeah,
other stronger international regions too, where just having the more straightforward like comp where you have a little bit more room to err on the side of caution and not make aggressive plays and just win off of that. I think that's a good means of making it work. We're gonna be getting into the game here real quick though. I believe we're not muted yet. So I'll say some pretty good skins. I like the Hextech Poppy, notable. Really shows that this is someone this guy likes playing.
yeah. Also, we've got a skin on everyone but Karma and Gwen, so I think that does mean that those are the two weakest players in the game. As we
Yeah, it's
all know,
actually a
once you buy a
stat.
skin,
It's a
it
stat
does
buff.
level you up. Yep.
It's a stat buff. Like status, not like like in-game points, like a status, like street cred. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
League cred,
Absolutely.
rift cred.
If Jeff Bezos were on this team, he would have a skin, I guess is what we're trying to say.
Players are born kind of going for a mad dash to the middle of the map.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
They got a ward in the top pixel bush, but
Got
looks like they know that they can win early game with a set support and the karma. Might just double down for this late invade. Four-man Lulu queue.
it. Minions have spawned.
Lulu's probably got the highest damage in the game. Might as well just chalk it up to Lulu victory at this point.
Hope it's not dented.
I have to say, this is a very interesting at level 1. I did not expect this kind of
Yeah, it is.
shenanigans.
Looks like we've got both blue buffs being started. See if Poppy's able to
Yeah,
poke anybody off here.
both sides are trying to contest it a little bit, but smite.
Diana did
used
actually
smite.
have to smite the karma. She was afraid of the karma Q taking it, so
I think that was worth.
Lulu's actually probably going to be able to push Trundle off of here. Trundle is not have a lot of HP right now.
Yeah, Lulu using the ignite. That
Poppin
was a good
Papis,
play.
yeah, that was very smart by Lulu. Poppin Papis definitely come out ahead on that one. Diana will be able to clear the entire bottom side if she wants, but it looks like she's just going to do blue into Gromp. And then probably up to red.
He doesn't want to duel the Trundle early game, although I think that might be
Yeah.
a mistake. They should know that the Trundle was so low. Or maybe
He
they
will
feared
be
that
able
the
to
Trundle
heal
would
up in
back.
the jungle because he didn't smite yet, I don't think. No, he
True.
did smite. He has smote now anyway. But he's back to full HP, so he stays pretty healthy in the jungle.
Looks like we have a pause. Good time to maybe look at runes. Hail of Blades on the Varus. Seen that a number of times. Too out of the ordinary.
Yeah, everything looks pretty standard.
I'd say I personally like Conqueror on Jinx more than Lethal Tempo. Just because building up those stacks throughout the fight is really easy on Jinx, I feel. And the extra AD plus
Yeah,
the
yeah.
multiplicative effect on rockets and whatnot is really strong, but it's definitely a fair choice.
Karma is definitely going to be able to push the Victor in early. That'll be interesting to see how this mid lane matchup evolves, but I think that Victor gets pushed in until he gets his first upgrade on his E, his laser.
My game just froze, unfortunately.
My game also is frozen, so I'm back now, so not sure what happened there, if there was a problem with the servers, but
I'm at
I'm
256, 257.
58, 59.
Pause. We'll do 310. Alright,
Okay, I'm also paused at 310.
we're gonna pause at 310. Ready to go whenever on your count. Alrighty. Back in
Sorry
the
about
action.
that, viewers. We had some technical difficulties from Riot Games. They are a small indie company, so sometimes they do have some of these issues.
It's fair though, you know. Spice of life.
You can't blame him too much. So even though in that top lane, Poppy is getting a lot of poke down on Gwen, Gwen is actually up in farm fairly substantially. So that lane is going well for Gwen. About half a wave. Big engage here onto Jinx. Jinx gets ignited and probably is going to die here to the set, but the camera switches away at the last second.
Looks like the Jinx
So you can
splash.
see here. Yep. Jinx did live. Pretty bad trade though in the bot lane. Gwen's pretty low HP, but again is keeping up in farm, although might die here. Looks like Gwen lives with a sliver of health. Probably is going to have to back and teleport back to lane, but she does have the teleport, so
How
not
the
too much as
Poppy
she's
uses
able to
this
pick up
timing. If Poppy just backs
Yeah.
here right off the bat, they try and stay to get extra pressure.
Gwen is TPing
gonna
back to
back now.
lane.
Yeah, the split map plays on the by the junglers, I think, kind of caused that discrepancy in the top lane, as well as the way that they were able to make the play bot lane. On Poppy was playing very safe until they knew that Diana couldn't help. Diana showed on the mid wave, and then went for that aggressive play on Cheese Blaze's Gwen.
So Karma has been using her mana to push the wave, and Victor's been using his to get poke, which is why we see such a huge discrepancy in the push here, but Victor is able to get some good damage down, so we may see him be able to crash this wave. Got Jinx is in trouble here. Set is not going to hit those traps. Jinx is just dead. The Poppy or the Trundle pillar stops her, and Karma able to walk away from that mid gank as well from the Diana. Go ahead and putting down a little bit of damage here in the top lane. Pretty comparable items in the top side. Gwen did just hit 6 though, and Gwen does have a nice power spike at 6, especially in the 1v1 against a melee champ. So she's gonna look for this fight here, I think. But Poppin Papis
far
is
behind
looking
this
for the
Poppy is
jungle.
on XP. Poppy's
Yeah.
a little over halfway to 6. So I think even despite the minion discrepancy, Gwen is up in XP based on the way that their TP play.
Yeah.
They use the TP. If the Poppy can make this TP affect the map somehow, though, this is gonna not matter. I don't think. Hopefully.
Yeah, I agree. They need to try to look for something around the dragon here, maybe. There is vision for players reborn. They have a pink in the pit.
Looking like a contest here for the scuttle or the
Yeah, it looks like
rift crab.
Gwen is not in trouble here, but
Fighting the bot lane.
Jinx is in trouble again. We've got Set and Varus able to pick up the kill on Jinx. She doesn't have flash and has died now twice, pushing up a little bit too far. The Set has just a ton of hard engage with that Hex Flash. Really terrifying to play against.
And with them pushing this lane in, they're gonna have an option to move. To either move or force Dragon potentially. It looks like Trundle being top lane, they're probably not going to be able to do much with it. But they might be able to push up and get some more vision. Because I really do think that as a team, they've gotten this small lead in the bot lane, and they're going to need to leverage that to get some of these Dragons before they get outscaled. Mid lane is going very well for Poppin Papis. However, they've got the CS lead on Victor, and the Karma hasn't been able to make any aggressive moves or shut down the Diana in any way.
So for those of you who aren't aware of the changes, semi-recent changes to Victor, Victor now needs 100 CS to get his first upgrade to his E, or some combination of 4 kills or assists and 100 CS. So, still 40 farm away from his first upgrade, which is really big. He really would love to get a kill or an assist here to help accelerate that first power spike.
Absolutely. On the top lane as well.
Set and Victor
at the mid lane.
playing really aggressive. They both have their ultimates now, so if Jinx gets caught, her flash is back up right now, but she may still just die, just with all the CC and engage that the bot lane from.
Especially if Lulu
players
doesn't
Reborn
manage to
has.
get their ultimate up.
Yeah. Gwen playing
Top lane.
pretty aggressively on the Poppy, but is going for all in. We also have Diana caught out here, has to flash over the wall. Set flashes after her, gets the E. Varus is there as well. Poppy had to run from the Gwen, it looks like, but does not die. Poppy does still have teleport, but it looks like
Just gonna be able
players
to use it
Reborn.
in top lane again now. Oh no!
But Jinx
What an
steals the
amazing steal.
dragon. Absolutely terrible for players Reborn. Looked like such a nice play, and now Gwen is in trouble here. Poppy has some health, although Gwen might be able to turn this. Poppy's now in trouble. Looks like both players will not live. I
Oh
take it
my
back. Poppy,
God.
with a very nice turnaround play there, is able to pick up the kill on Gwen after Jinx steals the dragon.
Not sure if that E missed. If she
Or if he was
she
going for
needed
the
needed
minion
a
or
dash
not,
for the
yeah.
minion to get in range. Either way,
Either way, it looked very flashy, looked very
use of the
good.
passive, it looked great. It looked great.
Yeah.
That's the top lane plays we want to see.
Poppy trying to pour one out for her jungler there after missing that smite on the dragon to the Jinx rocket.
But overall, it's only a 1,000 gold lead here on a team that really needs to be making plays on the dragon.
Now
and
Poppy,
they
Poppy's
lost
in
it.
trouble now. I don't know if Poppy's going to be able to get away here to the Victor
I think
and
she's out.
Diana.
Nice.
Diana going pretty aggressive here, taking a lot of damage from the turret. Luckily, no one is there to pick up the kill. Not sure if Diana thought the Poppy E was going to fall off there in time or what, but Victor taking some damage from Karma, but shouldn't be in too much danger here. Gwen just picking up a lot of plates. Gotten 2 plates in the top lane so far. And the top lane is actually the only lane that has any plates gone over to either side, which is kind of interesting. I kind of would have expected bot lane to be able to pick some up off of some of their kills.
Yeah,
Set
overall,
may be in trouble here.
I think he's out.
Looks like he'll be able to walk away. Victor barely doesn't get the W down in the right place to get the stun.
The port's moving to the mid lane, but they don't. Neither team wants to commit to the Rift Herald. They're both
Yeah.
showing respect. Trundle is just trying to farm up.
Jinx is in a lot of trouble getting poked out by the Varus. We got a fight here in the top lane. Both top laners actually playing pretty aggressively. These are more fun top lane matchups to watch than tank versus tank. These bruisers, with a lot of mobility, are definitely a skill matchup.
Don't
it
say
seems.
that. Riot'll make more Gwen champions.
There's
they're
Gwen
listening to
getting
us.
stopped by the Poppy. Poppy picks up the shield, gets the Q, but Gwen is still alive. Karma is gonna pick the kill up. Really nice. Mid laner is here,
Victor can
looking
1v2
for the
this.
kill on Karma. Victor may be able to win this.
Gets flash.
Poppy doing a lot of damage. Poppy, Victor flashes, gets the kill onto Karma. Getting chased down now. He doesn't have a way out, but it is a 1-for-1 in the end, with Poppy picking up kill onto Victor.
1 for 2
Poppy's now
total.
sitting pretty with 2 kills. Yeah, 1 for 2 total. That's right.
With Poppin Pappy's coming up.
Gwen is TPing back to lane. Poppy is in a little danger if she can't run away, although looks like that's not a problem. It's also worth noting that Diana is up about 16 CS almost in the jungle, which is 4 camps about, which is pretty significant. Jinx in a ton of trouble here, getting ulted by the set, has to flash out, but is probably dead anyway. even through the Lulu ult, Set able to get the angle around behind her there. I think Jinx needed a flash as soon as she saw the Set in order to live
Very,
there.
very, very, very short window there for that. The flash out of the bush into the E, into the ult, into the Varus ult. Just locked down. Even the Lulu ultimate was not nearly enough to save her. And they're gonna have to do something about this bleeding at a certain point, but
Yeah. Gwen drops the Rift
Or at
here. Looks
least
like it's
just
gonna
hope-
get the charge off.
that or just hope that their solo lanes can keep them afloat. Because at a certain point, the Poppy getting solo kills against the Gwen is gonna cease. That's not gonna happen forever. Because even
Yeah,
now,
and it's also
been,
not
there's
a
been tight fights.
yeah.
There've been close fights.
It's
gonna
also
be
not a
point
win
that's not
condition
gonna work.
at any point in the game, so. Gwen is doing a lot of damage. Seems to have missed a lot of skill shots there, actually, so Poppy might turn this around again, although
Ooh, they
not
missed
quite.
the
The
shield.
Gwen does
They-
so much damage with that
They
true
weren't
damage.
inside of the Gwen shield, the field, so
Yeah.
that they're queued into any damage. I'm not sure if it would have mattered, but
Jinx is in
That is
big
in
trouble
it.
again. Set gets the double stun off. Varus doesn't quite land the Q, but I don't think it matters. Trundle picks up the kill onto Jinx.
Dr. Dad
Jinx
is
is really getting...
stomping all over this game
Yeah.
with the set plays.
Victor gets actually a pretty nice Victor W down there, but it's not going to be enough. He dies anyway. Set does ult there, but should be a pretty easy dragon for Players Reborn, I think, at this point.
Jinx has her rocket up in 3 seconds when she's alive. We'll see if they can actually secure this second dragon. I think
That's
if they
true,
don't manage
yeah.
to secure the second dragon, the game will
Looks like
starts to really
they
look
actually
good
are
for Poppin
not-
Papis.
Yeah, they're actually not going for the dragon, it looks. Jinx did ult it, but it looks like Trundle's smite was on cooldown actually because he smote the Jinx, so they didn't feel comfortable starting the dragon up. Now we've got a TP coming in from Poppy. Poppy gets the charge off onto Diana, who is golden. Gets a nice ult, but it's not going to be enough. Diana does die. Varus putting out a lot of damage onto Lulu. Lulu does walk away with a sliver of health. Dragon looks like it will go over to Players Reborn here. Poppy flashes with the max range ult to kill Lulu. That's a heads up play right there. Victor is in danger, is going to get snared up by the Karma, but they don't have the damage to finish him off. Got some damage going down to the bot side turret from Players Reborn.
Poppin
Jinx
Papis
may
turning
be
up
in-
that dragon was a bit of a danger. That was
Yeah, that was...
both of the players that needed to be in the fight. Their solo laners who are potentially their carries in this game were not at
Well,
all able to
that
fight,
was
and they
a,
both had their teleports down because they had
Yep.
teleported back to
That's right.
lane after the last failed play that they had made, kind of doubling down on their errors. And
Gwen
just
may be
not
in a bit
waiting
of
for the
trouble here,
win
but I
drop.
don't know. I think Gwen may be able to 1v2 this, actually, at this point. Doing a lot of damage. Looks like
Poppy's
probably
done.
will die here. Poppy is able to get the stun up against the wall. Trundle does pick that kill up, so that's good for Players Reborn.
Oh, the stun on the set.
Diana does
I take
not get far enough out of the Karma range and is going to just die here.
No shame to use the flash.
Yep.
All in to get the kills. And I think that they might be starting to snowball now, to the point where
Yeah, the
They can
set
start to
has
close
been
it
an
out.
absolute terror. Every lane this game, really making a lot of plays for the team. Poppy, Victor might be in trouble here. I think Poppy actually can just kill Victor.
yeah, she doesn't have very much CS, but those kills make
Poppy does
a lot.
quite a lot of damage. I'm not sure if Victor is safe here or not. Looks like Poppy's not going to go for it under the turret, but
waiting for the
looking for the
backup.
angle for the stun. Gwen is going to be here though, so Poppy's going to have to back off a little bit.
Okay, some players Reborn. They're in the driver's seat. They need to start making plays to end this game. Realbotics, what would you say they need to be doing macro-wise? Where should their team be going?
I think the Players Reborn needs to make sure that they're able to get this mid turret down to make the next dragon a lot easier for them to set vision up for. It's going to make it really hard for Pop and Papis to check into the dragon pit if they don't have that mid turret to sort of fall back to. But I think that if Players Reborn is able to just snowball the dragons, even though they did miss that first one, definitely still a win condition for them, and I think it's probably their strongest one.
Turtle is also coming up soon.
Poppy knocking
If they
Gwen
can
away
get
there.
Or I guess
Victor in some trouble. Looks like Victor dies to the Karma there. Jinx taking a lot of poke. Victor was just pushed up way too far with no bottom turret. Tier 1 turret.
that opens up this jungle, this blue jungle. They can maybe get some vision there.
I think that if Players Reborn is able to
control wards coming out from. Uh-oh, we got a DC from
gotta
Set.
disconnect here. Yep.
Summoner has reconnected.
Looks like he didn't make it back into the game. Should be starting any minute here.
I think at this stage we really need to see some control wards coming out. I see Trundle just went back, got a control ward, 2 in the inventory of Poppy. From both sides. To help secure the vision in the lead up to these fights.
Yeah.
From Pop and Pappies, they need to make sure they don't get flanked by the Set or the Poppy. And for Players Reborn, they need to be able to find those flanks.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that if Players Reborn is able to pick up this dragon, maybe off the back of some sort of a Baron play, there's a lot of vision actually on that top side of the map from Pop and Pappies, so mostly defensive, but it's still hopefully will help them keep that mid turret up as long as they can.
It looks like a 2v2.
Poppy may be in danger here, but I don't actually think so. Diana really has a hard time against Poppy. That shield really does make it hard for Diana to really do anything there.
Played
more
steel
trades
cap
in the
on the
lane.
Gwen doesn't really do all that much against the Poppy. It's doing a lot of magic
Yeah,
damage.
that's
Physical damages through the Q.
Yeah, alright. That's a bit of a strange pickup here. Gwen, this is another really close fight. Poppy again flashes for the kill. Really just inches in these top lane 1v1s, but Poppy seems to be coming out ahead on most of them, so...
And that Bramble Vest is probably the difference maker here. Doing a lot more than the plated steel caps on the side of Gwen.
Yeah, yep. I think if Gwen had Boots 1 and had her completed second item right now instead of the Boots 2, the fight might have gone very differently. Set flashes again into the Lulu, but isn't able to pick up the kill.
DC or? I think
It's
we
like
had
some sort of
issues again, maybe.
Yeah.
That or some real confidence.
Poppy in a little bit of danger from the Diana, but I don't actually even know if the Diana
loses
has
the-
the damage. Looks like
Loses
Diana
the
misses
shield.
the Q there? Okay, Diana is able to pick it up with the ult. That would have been tragic. They are able to put some pressure onto the mid turret here from Pop and Pappies. Jinx does kill turrets very quickly, so you're able to pick that one up, which is pretty good. I'm actually surprised they were able to come out ahead on that play.
Victor solo in the bot lane. No vision. Really hoping that a significant number of Players Reborn's team is on the top side of the map and
Yeah, really dangerous play. They don't have
cheating the
any.
recalls.
Yeah. Not a lot of vision on the bot side of the map from Pop and Pappies either, so Victor just kind of flipping the coin there on that one, but
But very smart to back, not auto the turret.
Yep.
Any other players would just go for
Set
it.
running away,
Blind
but
map.
running into Gwen, collapsing on
TP
the set,
coming
but
out
they
from the
do
Poppy.
have a TP coming in. Gwen is DPSing the set, but Gwen's got to kind of run away as the rest of the players Reborn is able to collapse. Poppy looking for the tank ward here. Jinx kind of backing away. No kills so far.
Flash from the
The
Trundle.
flash over the wall from Trundle onto the Victor. Victor is golden, but is probably just going to die here. Fails the flash into the red pit and does die. Poppy gets the stun onto Lulu and is trying to run away while Gwen does not seem to do much damage to Poppy anymore. Poppy gets another stun into Gwen. Gwen's trying to run away, does get picked up by Poppy. Hex Flash away from the set.
Players Reborn is just too much stronger right now
Yeah.
at this stage of the game.
Yeah.
They know that they don't want to be doing this.
They're just pulling the
These
trigger on those
plays.
flashes.
They just
Yeah.
get all the group together, flash on the enemy, and
Jinx does
Goes
have
well.
Rocket here for this Baron steal, so let's see if
I don't know if I
AD
hope they
Carry
don't.
can pull it off again.
Ooh, they're fighting too far ahead
Actually,
of their
don't do a
backline.
lot of damage to the Baron. They're not killing it very quickly. They may have to back off of this. Looks like they actually were not able to pick the Baron up, and Varus does have to heal.
They
All of
shouldn't
players
lose-
Reborn backing here.
They shouldn't lose anything off that. No one died. It's unfortunate for them they didn't get the Baron, but it is a relief for Pop.
Kind of a wash. They did get the 2 kills, but
They wouldn't have been able to defend that mid turret if the Baron were buff were gained.
no.
So what are our times? I'm wondering if we're desynced again. I'm at 24, 51, 52, 53.
Yep. Yep.
We're good. Okay. Oh, I thought I was worried those DCs messed us up again.
Like Diana's running away from the Trundle here on the bot side of the map.
A minute and a half on the dragon, and players Reborn. They're doing the bot mid, getting the vision. 90 seconds ahead of the objective. Very
a
cognizant
play
of their win
from-
condition.
It is a Wind Drake, which is honestly not the best Drake for players Reborn. I think it while obviously it is strong, I don't think it's necessarily a guaranteed victory after that. I think there is still
Yeah.
some counterplay.
It's not a guaranteed victory, but being able to be faster, be able to get on top of the enemy carries before they get fully scaled up.
Yeah.
Like when they hit that power spike, having the set and the Trundle and the Poppy be able to just stand on top of the enemy is going to be really oppressive. Victor and Jinx won't be able to position.
Trundle really trying to get pillars onto the Gwen, but the Gwen W keeps her safe.
Big wave in
Players
the top
Reborn
lane.
just kind of waiting for the dragon to spawn. Poppin Papis does not have to fight this dragon. It is just the 3rd Drake. I think maybe they just let this go and
They're
maybe try
squared
to
up for a
force
Baron.
a Baron.
They're
Or
threatening the Baron.
yeah,
They get spotted out, but they're
kinda
trying to
pulls
make
some
plays.
people off. Players Reborn is just splitting and
Poppy's cut.
doing 2 people in the. I don't know if they can do this. Poppin Papis is trying to fight him here. Looks like they're not able to get anything, but it was a smart play, especially if they don't lose anything here.
That TTU Phoenix just walking right in the middle of that Baron pit, not caring.
Yeah. Trundle and Gwen in a heated 1v1. Gwen does
this
have the
the
40
counter?
stack Conqueror, but is not able to win. Trundle is one of the hardest champions to 1v1 in the game for an auto attack based character.
2 items to 2 items in
Absolutely
equal levels,
brutal.
and the Trundle comes
Yeah.
out on top. Spirit Visage and the Mirth Treads Magic Resist, not a problem. Not hurting their chances. Another pause here.
Yeah. So what do you think Pop and Pappies need to do to win this game?
Well, they aren't even that far down in gold, considering they're down by 15 kills, 18-3. They're only down by 4,000 gold at 27 minutes, which is really not that much, considering they have strong scaling champions. I think what they really need is to be able to get on this Varus and to maybe get a shutdown on him. If they can dodge the Set and the Poppy and the Trundle trying to dive their backline and somehow get the Diana and the Gwen to get the better flank, get the better vision, I do think they can win a fight.
We are back in game. Poppy on the Lulu. Lulu is in big trouble. Victor is trying to save her, but Victor does not do any damage to Poppy at this point in the game. It's also
I
worth
wonder if
noting
maybe split plays might be the right call.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I would imagine that Gwen eventually does beat the Trundle. But even so, if the Trundle can't be on the objectives, and is forced to contest the Gwen in the bot lane, I do think that Players Reborn wants to group. They want to make things happen. They want to fight objectives. And if I were Poppin Papis, I'd want to make them frustrated. I want to pull them apart and keep them from doing their thing with the 3 Juggernauts and a Karma.
I do still think that the Gwen will scale up eventually. Trundle probably won't win that 1v1 forever, so.
And he's
It's
got
also worth noting that. Yep. It's also worth noting that Jinx does have a. Okay, we got Set in onto Jinx and Lulu. Lulu pops the ult. Set flashes. Diana is on Set, but it's a nice ult actually. Lulu dies. Jinx picks up the first kill on a Set. DPSing with the rockets. Diana's running away. Takes a lot of damage from Varus. Goes golden. Second kill goes over to Players Reborn on the Diana. Looks like that's the end of that fight. Players Reborn comes out ahead in a 1-4-2. And they are straight onto the Baron. Jinx ult is down for the steal. Maybe Jinx will go for the Jinx W steal here, but not very likely. Victor is coming in on the side, gets a decent W off. Jinx is doing some damage to Varus. Gwen is trying to 1v2 here and is having some luck, but it looks like it is going to get turned on and killed by Poppy.
Diana's
kind of a split collapse there. They don't have a lot of damage on the side of Players Reborn, so it's possible Diana can get here, although it's not looking very likely at this point. Looks like she is just going to go topside and Lulu's going to back off, and
I'd say it's a matter of what they do next. If they back off, or if they try and keep going with this play, but I think it's the right call to back. Save their shutdowns. If they give up their shutdowns at this point, they can get them back, let them back into the game. But if they don't, if they all reset, if they make the right play and get these lanes pushed before the next dragon and get the Dragon Soul, Players Reborn looks really good right now. It's all on the amazing power of engage that they have. Poppin Papis, you know, they've been behind. They don't necessarily want to be engaging, but they also don't have those options. Gwen is not going to be able to engage for your team. Victor, Jinx, Lulu don't do that. It's just the Diana, and Diana doesn't really do that particularly well unless she can jump in ult Zonias, and even then with the way their team is, they need kite back. They need kite back. They need extended team fights where they're being dove.
It is worth noting that Jinx does have a lot of farm. You know, she will in theory do damage if she's allowed to DPS in some of these fights. That last fight with the collapse onto the Baron was unfortunate. They were split. Diana's getting a lot of danger. Flashes over the wall. Does
just
live.
The sheer number of tanky members and the shields.
Lulu gets caught by Varus ult and is just instantly killed by a Varus Q.
Serpent's Fang being
Victor trying to wave clear, but it's just getting hit by this Trundle, who is so tanky.
They're just gonna ignore the Gwen in the top lane?
Yeah.
Or do they back? Dragon up in 10 seconds.
Now, Players Reborn's going to probably back off here to go try to take this 4th dragon for the soul. I don't know if they really have any good ways of stopping this on the
Poppy
side of
has
Poppin
Poppy
Pappies.
has Poppy has TP as well, and they don't have TP on the
Yep.
Gwen. This is desperate measures here for Poppin Pappies. They're gonna need to find a good fight underneath their turret after this Baron has expired, and hope that the Dragon Soul is not enough to win the fight for the side of Players Reborn. Ooh, Gwen trying to take
Gwen
the
is
Grom.
caught out here.
Poppy doesn't have enough damage
Well,
anymore. Poppy can
yeah.
can go toe to toe in the 1v1, but Gwen can just walk away at any time,
Yeah, I think that's true.
especially without any assistance. But we've got both TPs up for the side of Players Reborn. We've still got a small amount of Baron buff
Gwen
left.
still no has TP.
Trundle making use of the quick back timer.
Setting up some pressure on the top lane, although Trundle is back, so it is potentially a 4v5 here.
And I don't even think they need to wait.
They're
pretty much
I think you're
unassailable.
right. Gwen gets caught with a stun. Is in some trouble, but does look like she'll live. Oh, Set comes from behind, and Uluwalt saves Gwen, but I don't know.
But nothing was used. Nothing all that valuable was used on the
Costs
side of.
nothing on
I guess it was
side
the
of
set
Players
ult,
Reborn, so
but if you just look at the timer tick down on that.
yeah, Set ult's halfway back up already. Victor's getting caught by this Trundle. Trundle's just 1v2 and seems to be completely fine with it. Almost kills Diana. Poppy is, Diana dies. It's a very chaotic fight here, but, Players Reborn is coming out ahead either way.
World Sensei on Varus, sniping out the Diana with a Q and going legendary with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who ult on a Jinx and she's
Jinx gets caught.
stopwatches,
Jinx goes
she's
golden, but
dead.
it's not gonna matter. She's just dead. This
Don't
game
know
looks
if
like
they
it's
can do
pretty much in
anything
the
about
bag.
this.
I don't think they're gonna be able to
About
defend
this
this at all.
end. The only way this doesn't go well is if they dive this fountain for kills.
Yeah.
Trundle. Focus the Nexus.
Game 1 looks
And we
like they're
have
just gonna play it out clean, focus the Nexus. That is game 1 over to Players Reborn.
I thought that was a genuinely good game. Looking at the score, you might not
Yeah.
think so, and I'm sure Pop and Pappies are kicking themselves, but
The first
for a
20-25 minutes of that
26
game were
to 4,
actually extremely close. Yeah.
for 26 to 4, I think that there were definitely some signs of life. I think that Players Reborn just has to be given credit for executing their comp well. You know, we both had our misgivings about the damage threats, but both Trundle and Varus not giving up deaths, not giving up their shutdowns, and knowing when to take the fights, was really good. They had a couple
Yeah.
risky calls on the Baron there where they pulled off instead of finishing it. They learned their lesson from the Jinx stealing that early dragon, which kind of made the game look a little scary after that, but well played from them. Looking at the damage charts, Poppy at the top of the
Poppy
charts.
with the #1 damage in the game. Kind of tells you how that top lane ended up going for Gwen. Although Gwen's actually also up there at #2 spot for damage.
Yeah, the two top laners just beating on each other all game, and then saying at the end of the game that they did the most damage. Classic top lane things.
Yeah.
Um,
So what do you want to see adaptations from Pop and Pappies for game 2? What do you think worked? What do you think
well,
didn't?
I think that overall, I think their team comp was just a little bit too weak early game. They didn't have any winning lanes, and then they had a Diana jungle versus Trundle,
Yep.
which they made work with early trades on the jungle sides. But I think we should give it over to a quick break so that we can come in for the next game and think about what you've done. Think about what you've done, Robotics.
Sounds good.
Cooper, you did a really good job casting. I mean, real botics.
All right.
Looking
Looking
forward to this
ahead to
game number
game
2.
2.
Let's keep
This one
bringing
is
it.
players reborn to just take the 2-0 if they can come up with another comp like that. Let's see what we get for bans. Elise Fiora, the same first 2 bans as game 1. See if Poppin Papis adapts at all.
I think
Same. Yep, Ezreal was off the table again.
last
Bit
game was a
strange
Kali
banning
Senna.
Ezreal on blue side, but yeah, I believe it was Senna.
I think ZZ Dog does play the Ezreal. I don't know, it does kind of give away what you're doing.
It's just such a
So,
nice blind pick, especially after how badly the Jinx was beat down last game. Ezreal is such a nice change of pace in the lane. So it looks like the same 3 bans, I think, for Poppin Papis.
Yep,
Actually,
same-
all 6 bans
same
are the
for all of
same.
them.
So we'll see if there's
Honestly,
any
I find the
adaptations
Senna to
in
be. I
draft.
think the Senna's a bit of a weird ban myself.
I agree with that. Maybe somebody plays a lot of it. Okay, we've got the first pick Varus again, but this time on Poppin Papis' sides. We'll see if they are able to make it work as well as Players Reborn was.
Tristana first pick. Tristana set. Ooh. If Vera's set looked dangerous.
Yeah, Tristana set is pretty terrifying to play against. I think they're gonna need something on the side of Poppin Papis to try to keep that set from just doing the exact same thing he did last game against another
Yeah,
mobile
we
AD
might
carry.
not have. We said it a few times, but afterwards we were talked a little bit about how the set Dr. Dad in the last game really.
Looked like an
However
absolute
much they might.
monster. He was everywhere
Yeah,
on the map.
apparently they were lagging, but got a few good flash engages bot lane and just snowballed off of that, pressured the map and everything.
Here's the Xin Zhao, which was banned last game. It was picked up a little earlier here by Poppin Papis, so we'll see if they're able to make that work better than the Diana.
I think they were kind of hoping for that. That was probably something that would have rounded out their comp a little better than the Diana with a little bit more early pressure, and it would have kind of followed up on the Gwen a little bit better. We'll see if maybe they try and pick the Gwen late, or if they've given up on that.
So they do have the Alistair, which does give Varus some peel against the set.
I can see that. I do, however, think that Alistar Varus seems like a bit like it's
They
not a
don't really want
combo
to do
that
the
really
same
does.
things, so
Yeah. I think it's an adaptation though, right? Like the Varus
Yep.
was a first pick
Yep.
because both teams seem to really value that champion. And then they saw the Tristana set and needed to pivot. So I think that the Varus Alistar is just kind of gonna. They're doing that to react to slow down that lane,
Yep.
and they're not gonna have pressure, I don't think.
The Echo is probably jungle, although could go mid lane. I don't know that Echo
I think
has a
Brewer
particularly good
plays.
matchup in his Xin Zhao.
I think their mid laner Brewer plays Echo though,
Okay.
so I anticipate that's mid lane. It's also a takeaway from Cyanite, who's been playing Echo when
Yeah, he does
other
play
champions
Echo,
like Silas are banned. Gwen is also banned here, and the Poppy as well. I think the Poppy
Poppy's
against
a good
Alistar
ban.
Xin Shao, again, that would have been really clutch.
Yep.
So Pop and Pappies, I think, feel really good about that ban.
What did they go for this last ban? Lowy,
Lowy?
so they must have seen that.
Yeah, TTU Phoenix plays that one as well. I think
Yeah,
I remember
I
from
do
the
remember
last
that,
time we
actually,
casted them. Although I feel like things like Alistar are pretty good against
Bard
it.
pickup is a little interesting. Looks like the set is probably not going to be support again.
Oh, so
Maybe a jungle set
switch up.
or a mid lane Bard if
Or
something
was that a
crazy's
mistake,
happening.
maybe?
Top lane Bard.
Probably top lane set.
Yeah, I think top lane set is pretty likely. They could flex it jungle.
I think
Wait to see what they have.
I think it's
last
just it's the double pivot. You know, they pivot
Yep.
and pick the Alistar to deny the set, and yeah, double pivot to Chesty. And Players Reborn sees the Alistar is like, okay, well, We don't want to play set then.
We'll just put. Yeah.
We'll take
Yeah.
our ball, take our set, and move into top lane, and then get our chime.
Okay, we've got the Ornn on the side of Poppin Papis. A huge amount more utility than the Gwen, that's for sure.
It's a definite.
Like that, they have a
pivot.
ton of agency this game on the side of Poppin Papis with the Alistair, Ornn, Xin Zhao, and even the Ahri is able to make some picks.
Far more agency, yeah.
Yeah,
They
a
can
lot
they
more
can
tools.
do things on their terms. They don't have the late game scaling quite the way they did last game, although they might. Hard to say who has the better scaling. But I think the important part is that when they feel like they can go in, they've got a number of players that can pull the trigger, and then the rest can pile on. Whereas before it was all just kind of poke and wait for things to happen, and not enough engage.
Hope Diana can find an angle on Varus.
Exactly. Which didn't happen.
Yep.
We're gonna start the actual select here pretty soon. Not quite sure how this Players Reborn is gonna. I think it's got to be Lee Sin jungle then, right? I think I've seen TTU Phoenix play set, and it seems like it's kind of their
That
archetype.
does seem more their style. Lee jungle is definitely obviously viable, so that's my guess is set top Lee jungle echo mid, but I guessed wrong last game, so I wouldn't put too much stock into what I'm saying.
Yeah, right. And we talked so much about how Players Reborn had a more difficult to execute comp with the lack of damage and threats, and we were just wrong.
I stand by that one.
Well,
I stand by it was more difficult to execute. They just did execute it well. Difficult doesn't mean bad. It just means you got to be confident and play well.
Well, I think results-based decision making and hindsight says that we were wrong, and we aren't allowed to make any predictions anymore.
Yep, that's right.
If things turned out differently than you anticipated,
if you have a 6-sided die.
Yes, and you guess 1 through 6, and you don't roll that one, your decision making is flawed.
You guessed wrong. It means you are wrong.
Overall, what do you think about the team comps this game? Like, which one would you rather be playing?
Oh boy, that's actually hard. I think these comps are both pretty good. I love to have an Ornn on my team, so I'm gonna have to go with Poppin Papis again. Apparently I
Favoritism.
like the champs they draft
Favoritism.
better, but
Twitch, we got favorites.
So we'll see. I actually like both comps, though. I'd be happy to play either side of this matchup. I think neither team is heavily outdrafted. And I think that was true last game as well. So we'll see if Players Reborn is able to pull out another convincing win here. In game 2.
Yeah, for me, I don't know. It's a little harder to say. I feel like Ahri is lower damage. But Players Reborn, I don't know. I think their engage is more skill based. They need Lee Sin to play well, or Bard to play well. I feel like versus
Ornn is pretty
Ornn,
idiot-proof.
Alistar, Ahri. Yeah, Ornn, Alistar, Ahri can all just wombo, and then Jhin can dive. They're showing that the Varus works. It really does. But at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like the Varus doesn't really do much for the comp. I don't know. I'm not in Ionia. I'm not
true.
the best in the world. I'm just like, 3rd or 4th best. So
yeah, definitely top 5 though. I think last I checked.
I heard that once. I think you said that once. But yeah, I think that they're both team comps. It looks like it's going to be an exciting game. Like whereas last game it was very clear what each team comp wanted to do and how they were going to interact, and like if if players Reborn got the dragons, they were on the course to victory. Whereas Pop and Papis just wanted to scale up. This game it's a little
Yeah.
bit trickier.
I think both teams are fairly close in scaling.
As far as individual lanes, I think the set is going to have to make some plays early on the Ornn.
Yeah, or Orange
And
just
use some
becomes
pressure.
unkillable.
Ornn should probably outvalue the set unless the set has enough kills to start solo carrying.
Threatening the backline, yeah.
Echo versus Ari. I think Echo's more slippery, and dangerous in that way. But the Ari has more reliable ways of making things happen. Whereas Echo has
Yeah, Ari
to
definitely has better pick potential. Her
Echo has
CC is a
one
lot
shot
easier to hit than
potential.
Echo.
Echo has one shot potential late game for free, but unless the enemy walks through a choke or or something like that, or if they discount his ultimate shadow, I think that Echo doesn't have a lot of ways into fights.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Echo has the problem that he requires the enemy to use his engage for him. They have to, you have to walk at Echo in order for Echo to be able to really force a fight.
But
Get
then
his
again,
damage off of his zones.
they do have a number of champions that are gonna just be walking in. They've got the Shin,
True,
Alistar,
true.
Ornn, who don't have much else to do than just walk at you. I am a little disappointed that they didn't stick with the set Tristana, to be honest. I know the Alistar does make that look harder, or maybe they were just trying to,
Mind game.
yeah. Although it's not a very successful mind game because they still got the counter pick with the Ornn, or not the counter pick, but they knew what they were looking at because they had seen the Bard.
Yep.
So I don't know. I feel like the Tristana set would just have a lot of kill pressure on the Varus, who's immobile and wasn't threatened last game
Yeah, it
on
was.
players Reborn side. But then again, it's on the other foot now. It's a different player, so we'll see. Don't be baited here. We got 3 more minutes to wait. Oh, well, here's another thing that I didn't notice because I was looking at the pick ban tool, but it looks like they swapped support for top laner, and Cheeseblaze is now playing support Alistar, and Baby is playing Ornn top
Oh
lane.
yeah.
Unless my client is bugged.
What my client says as well, though I have seen that client have some issues before.
Bit of a twist. Yeah, I didn't notice that they lined up that way. I think they can line up on the. I guess I'm not entirely sure how the rules work that out, but it's something we never did because we had too much honor for it. But otherwise, I would have taken out the Singed top lane.
That's right. That's right.
All right, putting this match in context, players Reborn. If they win this, they get to play the finals against Team Tanuki. Believe that was a match that you and I casted the
We
regular
did.
their
We did.
regular season
Yep.
meeting. And
Cast
Team
players are born
Tanuki,
against Team Tanuki. That's right.
both teams played very well in that match, I thought. But Team Tanuki, I think rightfully getting the first seed. Pop and Papis trying to climb their way up. They're gonna have to play three hole playoffs or get to, more bang for their $10 entry cost. more bang for their buck if they win this one and the next game.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to pull it off. Definitely gonna have to keep the energy up even after that tough loss last game. So
I think they got it. They're pretty tenacious folk, from what I can tell, anyways. I mean, they got the tenacity to swap roles. They're mixing it up. They
that's
got
right. That's right.
plans. Because the worst thing you can do in defeat is to stop trying. Stop with the adaptations.
You got to get even crazier with it.
Yeah, you gotta get crazier with it. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I'm glad you're here
You
to
got to
help me with that.
draft the singed Yumi bot lane. That's what everyone should be doing.
Shit,
You
that
wanna
was the
win.
mistake. That's what we're doing next season. Right, some good skins here. Bard is rocking the Guardian. Both AD carries going with Halo Blades.
We're about to get into game here. I'm also at 10 seconds.
I think you
You
should do
said
it.
I'll let you do the honors on that
Okay.
countdown.
Alrighty. Rocking out onto the rift here in a couple more seconds. It's like this game they're going for a better spread. I don't think either team is looking to invade this game. Although who knows? Last game was pretty spicy with the way they
Last game
initiated
was pretty crazy level 1. Looks like this game is going to
jungle
be a
swap.
little bit
30 seconds until minions spawn.
more normal, maybe.
Pushing for vision though on the bottom try.
Ornn actually getting some damage on Lee Sin. Ornn is I believe, an assassin tank, mage
I think
fighter,
that's what it is.
something like that.
Assassin
Yeah.
tank.
Minions have spawned.
I believe that is a new Varus skin, isn't it? That's a fairly recent
Cosmic
addition to the
Hunter?
game.
I think I got that one in a box, but I haven't played it. It's
Pretty
nice.
impressive loot crate mechanics from Sheep's Head here. Alright, we've got a fairly standard start. Both junglers starting their red buff. Lee Sin wants to dodge Xin Zhao early, because Xin Zhao will just kill him, I think. And Lee's probably looking for an early gank bot side.
This
Because
Bard
Trist
is
will push.
smart play from the
Like
side
those
from ZZ Dog and Cheeseblade, not to walk through the tri-bush there. Bard was looking for some free damage, would have got an easy Q stun. Paying some respect to this bot lane that showed a really strong performance last game on the side of Players Reborn. This game Cyanide is on a more aggressive early game champion than the Victor.
Yeah, Ahri definitely has a lot more ways to play aggressive in the laning phase. So Tristan and Bard has shoved up to the turret, but I think they may have pushed too fast to get caught by the Lee. The wave is going to bounce. Echo getting a good trade onto Ahri.
I think Trist Bard are trying to get it pushed back, back
yeah,
towards
they're
them.
trying to bounce the wave. Yep.
Hopefully for
Which
them the
which
lead
is
can
smart.
come down.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Good
quite
damage
as
on
fast
Ornn
as they
there.
wanted it to be. If they had pushed it faster, they might have been able to go for a free reset to get boots or something. But even so, it is pushing in their favor. And if they just let it do its thing, they're probably gonna have a window for Lee Sin to gank. Xin Shao starting the top crab, it looks like.
Lee and Xin Zhao actually are almost exactly mirrored in their timing for this first clear. Are getting some good damage out actually onto Echo. Lee actually looking mid, gets the Q onto Ahri, but does not follow it up. Not much follow-up from Echo available there.
Yeah,
They're able to
not
make
much
anything
to
happen.
not much to be
Alistair
done in that play.
messes up the combo a little bit. Looks like he was going for the WQ, but
Yeah, Lee Sin is
doesn't quite get
just
it.
hanging around, playing security. There's not really a fight a play to be had unless it's a counter gank. Bot lane is all warded up, but I have to wonder if maybe Lee Sin going bot there instead of hanging mid was
Yeah,
the play, but
I think the bot was the play there, especially Alistair went aggro, although that was after Lee showed mid.
kind of going the other way
Some
around.
good damage from Set.
Shin might have made a play mid lane and made them look silly. So
We will never know what might have happened. Yeah, Set with some good early pressure on Ornn. Ahri
Ooh,
in
the Lee
trouble,
hits.
actually lands a nice charm onto Lee, who takes a lot of damage from the turret and the double hit from the Ahri Q. Ahri does burn Flash and Ignite there, though, so... Ahri with no TP, and Echo does have TP, so...
Overall,
Ahri
not
does need to
bad.
sort of play them better.
Yeah, not bad for the Ahri, but it could have been so much worse if they didn't hit that Q or that charm.
Yep. Ornn getting some nice damage back on a Set, but Set has so much natural HP regen from his passive that he's feeling pretty good in this lane, I think, right now.
This is a matchup that Ornn doesn't win straight up, especially just because like there's no way you can poke him down. There's no the Set that is, because Set will just regen back up and doesn't have to worry about mana. So Ornn really, like given the way that the Set is pushing, really needs a gank or needs to make a play somewhere else, and they're forced to use their TP early. So they're not going to be able to help contest this dragon.
Yeah.
This is the way that Set wants this matchup to go.
I think it's also, I mean, Ornn is happy to play the matchup this way, I think. You know, he's able to scale up. He will be more useful in the late game, so I think Set needs to... Yeah, they're starting the dragon up here on the side of Poppin Papis.
It's on
Should
on
be
the
a
Set to
pretty
make
free
plays. But
take,
they've
it
been
looks,
making
although
plays.
Alistair is checking this. They do know
Set
it's
has a
happening, but
TP
I
hover.
don't think they have any way to get there. No Jinx ult to steal it this time, so Poppin Papis is able to walk away with that one. Players Reborn, excuse me, sorry.
I forgive you.
Players Reborn's first dragon. The game. So we will have either a Wind Soul, or an Ocean Soul, or a Infernal Soul, or a Mountain Soul this game.
Wait, not Ocean.
But not Ocean, that's right.
What? Yeah.
And not Wind.
I think Infernal and Earth are probably... Mountain are
Yeah,
probably...
Mountain Soul with
the most
Ornn.
impactful.
Mountain Soul with Ornn is pretty terrifying.
Ornn, Alistar.
Pretty measured early game so far. No kills 8 minutes into the game. Not really a lot of fighting in general.
I expected
Sort of
heavier
just
gank
some-
pressure from the Shin and the Lee, but I think they're
Yeah,
just
I think.
playing safe, trying to track the enemy jungler more than anything else. Like that was
Yeah.
that was why the Lee went mid. You know,
Yep. Yeah.
they're more concerned about playing their head-to-head matchup in the jungle and not letting the enemy jungler make a play than make a play themselves. And I think that's a respectable way to make this happen, given that neither of the comps really have like a super hard scaling victory condition, you know.
Yeah, and I think it is a viable strategy for Lee to just farm for 6 and try to get a gank off with his ult. A lot of damage onto Echo from Ariel though. Stepping pretty far up here, a little dangerous. Ari does hit 8 first. Not a huge power spike, but
Looks like just like last game, the Varus is going to be going for lethality.
Lee is looking bot with the Bard E.
Nice Varus
Bard
ult.
gets the slow, but Varus is able to get the ult. Bard misses the. Oh, Lee with a very aggressive play. They do get first blood, but it is traded back. The Varus gets the kill onto the Lee. And Alistar barely walks away. Big trade up here in favor of the set in the top lane.
Overall,
That was quite a.
that is
Yeah.
definitely good for players Reborn here. They get the first blood, but more importantly, they blow all the summoners off of the Varus. And so this Tristana is going to have both
Zhao
the
has
summoners
to-
up and
has to flash
a lead
away.
on these plates. And even though they didn't get the kill and the Varus did, they're going to be able to come back into this lane and threaten another 2v2 or a gank if
Yeah.
the Lee Sin chooses to come.
Nice charm from Ari, getting a lot of damage down with the Echo. Echo is in a little danger here. Ari does ult. Echo ults as well. Ari looks like probably going to get the kill, but
Oh,
just
wow.
barely is saved by the Lee. Ari walks away as well. Alistar was there in time to save her. Close 1v1 there. Looks like Ari would have taken that if not for the help from the Echo's teammates.
Yeah, Ari charms the Echo straight in the face when he's autoing the minions. Oh, engage in the top lane. Just a small trade of damage.
Nice knock up.
Yeah, Ari hits the Echo straight in the face with the charm and just barely doesn't get the kill because of the Lee Sin safeguard.
Yep.
Ornn is getting at the point where he can
Ornn
actually solo
actually
kill
is
this
going
guy.
for the engage, but set ult pulls Ornn out of his ult, so
The long trades are going to definitely be in favor of the set in this game,
Yep.
or at this
regen
point in the
up
lane.
with his passive.
He can regen. He's got his
Looks
auto
like they
attacks.
may be going back to this Bard E Lee Sin gank again. Lee does have his ult back, but no flash, so see if he's able to make another ward hop kick work here.
They go for the
Bard does land. Okay, they've got the kick back onto Alistar. Echo is here as well. Looks like this should be a kill onto Alistar for the Echo.
Ari?
Ari is going to catch the Echo here in the tri-bush. Echo does not have ult, but is going to get away.
Ari just does not have enough damage to solo kill anybody.
Not quite. Not quite.
It's one of the reasons, despite all the upsides of playing a champion like Ari, she can't finish that play.
Yeah.
She has to wait for her cooldowns to come back up. TP from the set, not going to be canceled.
That's Echo, actually, from base. They get the kill onto Zen.
No, it's both then.
Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right.
Double TP. Ornn holds on to his.
Just easy second dragon for players Reborn. Lee may be looking for more, but Alistar's going to spot him out. Varus is in a lot of trouble. There's no Alistar down here. It's an easy kill. Unfortunately, goes over to the Bard Ignite, which is tragic.
Stun on the
Looks like
Ari.
a TP coming in from Ornn. Ari lands the charm onto Lee. Lee goes in on Ari. Ornn throwing some abilities out, but Echo is going to get the kill onto Ari. Lee is all by himself against the Ornn Alistar. But Conqueror is fully stacked. Looks like Lee Sin does die.
Oh, they can
Echo
follow
gets
this up.
caught by a nice knock-up combo by Ornn and Alistar and dies to the Ornn. Really nice play, but does actually manage to pick the Alistar up there with something. I'm not sure actually what hit him. Maybe the return on Echo Q.
But all the while, all these plates and all this gold is going to this Tristana.
Yeah.
And
Tristana
Tristana is going to be their
scary.
late game. Is the late game champion? You know, among all the champions in the game, probably the best scaling.
Yeah.
You know, notwithstanding Ornn's team benefits.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed. Turret plate
So pretty interesting
Looking
stuff.
at gold, looking at gold
Ornn
in the
actually
game,
has
number
a
1 and number 2 are going to be the Tristana and Lee Sin with the most gold, followed closely by the Varus. So no one's really, all jumping straight ahead, but
pretty interesting build by Ornn I'd like to just call out here. First item Warmogs and is 6 bonus HP short of the passive.
that's
So
unfortunate.
not getting a lot of value out of that. Probably needs at least
I think he just has to
one-
level.
yeah, I actually don't think you get bonus HP from leveling, so I think he will need to buy an item actually. I don't know if he has the wrong runes or something that. Alright, we got Echo onto Ornn here, while Players Reborn is on the Rift Herald. Looks like they should get this pretty easily. Lee Sin will pick it up, which is a huge mechanical misplay. Lee Sin hates having Herald because unless he uses it immediately, he can no longer ward hop. It is one of the most terrible feeling things playing Lee Sin.
And it's
They are
something that you've learned the hard way.
Set here. I have learned that the hard way, that's right. We got set ult onto Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao does die to Lee. Bard
Misses the ult.
does land the ult onto his own teammate, but looks like Alistar will go down here. Ahri's in a bit of trouble. Gets hit by the Tristana ult, but does not die.
Now
Ornn
Ornn's
is
here.
face-checking into this. He's going for the assassination plays, but it looks like he's in a bit of trouble. Gets stunned by the Echo. Tristana's there to do the damage. Ornn does go down. Lee Sin also is able to pick the Varus up on the back end there. This is quickly looking like it may get out of hand for Poppin Papis.
Yeah, a potential downside to the swapping of roles here may be that when things start to break down, when the lane assignments are gone and people need to figure out what they do in the mid game, Poppin Papis are not going to be ready for it. They're with the players on their different roles. Not saying that's what happened there or what will happen. Just it's a possibility that that's going to make them
Something that could happen
a little more
in the future.
a little more hesitant to make the right plays.
If you subscribe to Multiverse Theory, there is a multiverse. There is a universe in which that did happen there.
Yeah, exactly. I was relying on the multiverse theory and that everyone listening knew about that.
Yep.
Dragon coming up in 40 seconds.
Got Players Reborn again, ahead of the play, putting vision down around the dragon.
It's such
Making
basic
sure they're
stuff,
there
but
for that.
executing it takes a sacrifice as an individual player
Yep.
that you don't practice in solo queue. You know, and it's something
That's right.
and it's something that really shows that this team is willing to do what it takes to win.
Alistar does
versus what it
spot
takes
up
to
the
look good.
death brush there. Lee Sin still kicking himself for having that Rift Herald. I can tell you exactly what he's saying in chat to his teammates. He's saying, I could have gotten the kickoff there.
He kicks the Ornn
It's
into the set.
Does get a kick onto Ornn. Ornn does look like he'll go down. He gets an ult off, but doesn't really hit anybody with it. Ahri looking for a pick on the side, but isn't able to make anything
Ult on
happen.
Ahri.
Gets caught by the Bard. Flashes over the wall. I thought Ahri was going to die there for sure. Lands the charm on Bard, who's almost dead, but not quite. Dodges out of the Varus arrow. But they are on the dragon. Set gets a pretty interesting stun onto Xin Zhao over the wall.
Ornn is
Poppin
really
Papis
close
is
to
gonna
having
try to
TP up.
contest this. Yeah, Ornn will have TP. Lee Sin is on the back line, but again, cannot ward hop. Gets the kill onto Ahri, though. Alistar is tanking up a couple members here. Looks like he almost will kill Bard, but not quite.
Just turn for the
Echo
dragon
ults
here.
back and stays alive. And players Reborn will pick up this third dragon of the game, and it will be a Mountain Soul. They are looking for more, though. Echo onto the Ornn, but not much else to be had. Lee Sin does finally use the Herald, so see them take this mid turret down should be no problem.
I think they're gonna give up on
It's like
the
they're
turret. They know that
they're not gonna stick around, so
they aren't overstaying their welcome. I believe he canceled the
that going
SETI with
in. Tristana jumps and gets the kill onto Varus.
I think
Or
Ornn
gets the assist onto Varus
canceled the SETI using
with
his
his W there,
his
yeah.
W. But Varus, without flash and without a karma to speed him up, and no Alistar to knock anyone away, is just dead meat.
Yep. Like this red buff will go over to Tristana. That's probably a good call.
Surveying
This is
TPs,
Gore
it
Drunker
looks
Lee
like
Sin.
players Reborn, you know, with the 6,000 gold lead, with the three dragon lead, and 3 minutes on the next one, have 2 TPs up to the no TPs on the enemy team, and are really poised to make this a 2-0.
Yeah, they have actually a
Papis to
significantly
make
larger
some kind of
lead.
surprise play.
Yeah. Yeah, Players Reborn has a bigger lead than they did this time last game, so see if they're able to close it out again. But so far not looking good for Poppin Papis. Looks like they're trying to set up some kind of a death brush, but there's not really anybody around.
Handing over
They're
the
looking
bread
for the
puff.
Baron, it looks like. They do have damage for it. Tristana will kill it quite quickly.
I
Poppin
think they see
Papis
that
looks like they do at
they have a
least
lot of
suspect.
people
Yep,
following.
there's the Ornn ult coming out. Ornn does hit Lee with that knockup, but it's not really enough to stop it, although it does seem to... They do stop damage on the Baron. Ahri going in on the Echo.
I think
but
they
doesn't
could have
really
stayed
get
on the Baron a
anything.
little bit longer to actually force them into
Yeah,
him.
I think so too.
I think
Ahri
they
ult
actually wanted
is
to test
down.
that.
Echo does have his ult.
They have the Echo TP as well. I think they wanted to bait that a little bit
Players
longer.
Reborn back onto
It's
the Baron.
safer.
No, they're just going toward mid lane.
Safer for them to pull off that way, and that's what the call should have been eventually. But
Okay, Lee Sin gets a kick onto Xin Zhao, but Xin Zhao just ults and walks away. Echo looks like he is just going to kill the Ahri in the 1v1. Lee Sin in a bit of trouble. Is able to get away, but is pretty low HP and doesn't have a great way to regen with the Scuttle Crab dead. Ornn gets caught by the Set here, but is able to blast cone away. Set looking for the ult, gets it, but Set's actually in a bit of trouble here, maybe? No, Ornn, a lot of low health bars. Xin Zhao dies to the Lee Sin. Nice flash, Set W to pick up the Ornn with the Bard there on the backside.
Here. If Varus oversteps,
Might be in a little bit of trouble. Alistar kind of stuck here against the Set all by himself. Varus can't
jumps over the
face
wall.
back into that. Tristana jumps, gets the kill onto Varus. Alistar is not going to be able to do anything here. Tristana gets the double kill. This is looking disastrous for Poppin Papis. Ahri going for the kill, does get the Bard, but it's a 1-for-1. I'm not really sure if that's worth it for Ahri.
Whoops in
Going
the
for
chat.
style points, I think.
Whoops in the
instead
chat
of,
for Cyanide.
Yeah,
A little bit of banter.
a little friendly trash talk here between these two.
With the heart. With the three in the less than sign. You have to give it to Poppin Papis though. They're not playing some turtle defensive style. They're sticking with the aggressive style
they're
that
going
they,
for
that they
it
like.
here.
They're not they're still taking the
Got
fight.
some damage onto Ornn here, but not
Ooh,
doing
Ornn
too
ult?
much. Tristana does
Lands
kind
on
of get
Tristana.
caught here. Looks like there's no follow-up. Lee is there.
Dragon in 8
Back
seconds.
off.
And it looks like they forced them off, but Echo is just going to take top inhib. They don't even... Players Reborn don't need this dragon. They don't need the Dragon Soul to win. They're up so much gold, and they've got this top inhib that's just going to go down for free. Set gets
Varus
ulted,
does land
though.
the ult on the set. Follow up with the Ahri
beautiful
charm, but
Bard
Ahri
ult.
and Varus both get hit by a Bard ult. They're in a bad spot. Bard is autoing the blue buff for some reason. Ahri charms the blue buff. Blue buff is really taking a lot of damage here. Lee Sin misses the Q after his ult, and Ahri kind of just walks away. Alistar does have to burn his ult. Varus dies to the Echo. Alistar looks like he will go down to the set as well, although maybe he'll be able to get himself away. Echo kills Ahri on the backside. Set sort of just chasing down the Alistar. Lee Sin hits the max range Q, but gets knocked back by the Xin Zhao. Nice double knockup from Ornn. Looks like it will save Xin Zhao from death. Maybe. A lot of CC coming out of Ornn. Ornn's trying his best to keep his team alive and sacrificing his life in the midst of it, looks like. That's the double inhib for Players Reborn.
They might be able to end the game off this,
Going
or just
for
go
the
for the
third
Baron.
inhib at least here.
Do they go to the Baron here, or do they try and finish? The Ornn is coming up in 28 seconds. I think they can just force the Baron or reset here, depending on how aggressive they want to play this.
Looks
That
like they
last
will just
fight-
go for the Baron here and go for the clean, easy end.
Yeah, if they Baron, then they reset with the fast recalls. I think that's the means to
Yeah,
to
gives
win
time for super minions to get all three lanes pushed.
Echo
It
has
should
the
be a
Nashor's
pretty
tooth
easy
second
win.
item, I notice. Explains their auto attack damage they've been using. I don't know how common that is, but it looks like it's definitely working for them. Serpent's Fang on the Varus. That last extended dragon fight though, Players Reborn had them in a real stranglehold. They had the Echo in the top lane with the TP, takes the inhib. They lose the dragon, but then when Ornn TPs back to save the Nexus turrets, Echo just TPs into the fight and they win the 4v5 and chase him down with the Bard, Tristana, Lee Sin, Echo, who just you can't run away from that.
A really clean play out of Players Reborn around that dragon.
Yeah, and Poppin Papis just with a no-win scenario. If they give up the dragon, then they're so far behind. But then, you know,
I think the win
what they
win
get there.
condition there was to not fall this far behind in the first 25 minutes of the game.
Korean advice: just don't
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah. Lee Sin with some quick fingers there. Feeling good after he got rid of that Rift Herald.
Oh yeah, it's
Back
like
to being able to use wards.
it's like
Echo just sort of going in, getting knocked back, but is just able to ult back. Tristana doing so much damage to the Ornn. Xin Zhao pops the ult, but doesn't seem to really make a difference. Tristana's not even pretending to try to have mechanics, just sitting there and autoing, killing the whole team, resetting the jumps. Looks like Varus is going to die under the Nexus turret, and the inhibitor will, or the Nexus will die for Game 2 over to Players Reborn.
what another banger of a match.
An absolute barn
A lot
burner,
of
I tell you.
large buildings were consumed in flames
Yep.
for that one.
Yep.
And looking at the gold, Tristana far and away in the lead. Going deathless in both
again.
games.
That's 2 games in a row with TTU Phoenix having actually the most damage in the game as the at least tank-ish top laner. Pretty good play out of him.
I'd say pretty good, at least. I thought those were some pretty good games though overall. Strong performance from Players Reborn though. I think it's hard to argue with that
Yeah,
outcome.
I think
given
at the end
their-
of the
their
day,
performance.
the better team came out ahead. So, that's what you want to
Not
see.
to knock Poppin Papis. I think we're going to be getting an interview here maybe. from someone from Players Reborn. Looks like the jungler, Grease, is going to be jumping in to talk a little bit about the match.
I'm definitely gonna want to be asking him about the Rift Herald play and how they were able to recover
Oh
mentally
yeah,
from that
Mhm.
mistake.
It was really the low point of that batch for the side of Players Reborn.
A- As a Lee Sin player myself, I can tell you that it's mentally devastating when you make that mistake. You have no one to blame but yourself. And you spend the next 4 minutes of the game.
I know I've
Just in
suffered
shambles.
from your complaints about it. Yeah, shambles,
Yeah,
shambles indeed.
I'm inconsolable at that point in the game. Really bringing the mental down of my entire team.
Overall, yeah, I think those were definitely some good games. The Oh,
Hey,
here we
what's
go.
up, guys?
Hey,
All right, we have Grease here. Jungler for Players Reborn.
Yeah,
Quick 2-0 victory tonight.
yeah, we tried hard. What can I say?
yeah, what kind
How
of
does
practice did you guys all do? Do you have like a night a week you guys work together, or did you plan out comps ahead of time, or what kind of
Yeah, so
preparation was going on?
well, it's lately it was a little inconsistent because we had a couple vacations. Actually, our support is on vacation right now. I think playing from either a hotel or I don't know. He could he could chime in the chat maybe, but um, generally we try to scrim when possible, like set up a scrim with another team of an equivalent level. Actually, we've even scrim Poppin Poppies outside of the regular season. Um, we try to do flex queue when we don't have everybody available and need to fill somebody. And then for preparation for this game, we started a hardcore preparing for this game yesterday as far as draft, and we spent a lot of time on the draft and talking about what we thought they would pick and what we thought would be an issue.
Can I, not to
yeah?
jump in on Realbotics here too much, but
Yeah,
can I ask about the first draft that you did? And that was something that I think Realbotics and I both had questions about. And it
sure.
looked like you guys executed it really well, but it looked like it had problems with being kind of low damage. What was
Sure.
your thought process when you picked that?
Yeah, I might have to go back and look at the draft again to be
It was
honest. Let me see.
You started Varus Karma,
So
Set,
you've got
and then Poppy
Poppy
Trundle.
Trundle.
Yeah, so all right, so one thing that we've been doing as a team for the past few matches that we've done for Seal is we mock draft a lot. So we'll just look at the other team's op.gg and maybe look at some of the drafts they've done against other teams. And then of course we read the meta and try to see what we think is maybe unignorable.
Hmm.
And we came to the conclusion that Varus is pretty much the best champion in the game, other than maybe Nocturne. But we don't play Nocturne and they don't play Nocturne, so we took a gamble that they weren't like prepping it secretly, and we just went with the Varus. The Karma we wanted because we know that Cyanate's an extremely aggressive mid laner, and we just wanted to neutralize mid as a lane, but also have potential gank pressure because Karma has a lot of gank pressure, and we think she's broken right now.
Hmm.
Um, the set again was we just think set's really broken, and Phoenix has a really good set. He's also a triple flex for us, so the set potentially could have gone mid or support.
Well, it did go support
Oh,
this
you're
game
right.
because
Yeah, I'm
that was
sorry.
the
It
game
did actually go support. Yeah,
that you're
Yep.
vacationing
Yep.
yeah,
support
yeah. He
kind of
played
popped
amazingly.
off.
So
They
the
played really
Poppy
well.
again is like it's the only character I think that we felt really good about taking into Gwen, which is a question mark for us because we haven't really seen Gwen in the regular season yet, and we know that she's really strong. Um, but yeah, so we thought Gwen was really strong, and so we took Poppy. It's a comfort for Phoenix. He's shown really good showings on it, and then the Trundle was just a straight up counter pick to both Diana, and he's really good into
Yeah.
mages. He's like unkillable basically
Yeah.
into casters. So the idea also he's
The-
good into immobile characters like Jinx. So the idea was that I would just dive bomb bot all game and kill the Jinx, and then we'd basically have a team of 3 people who are immune to magic. That was the thought behind the draft.
Worked out really well. That Trundle into Diana is absolutely brutal for Diana. It's pretty
Oh
much
yeah, that's
unplayable.
awful. And Diana feels mobile when you're on the offense, but when you're on the defense, you realize
Yeah,
Diana's not
yeah,
actually
yeah.
mobile.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just touch briefly on what I thought was the biggest mistake that you guys
Mhm.
made in either game,
Sure.
and the stream already knows because I brought this up multiple times.
Yeah.
But how bad did it feel in game 2 when you picked up the Rift Herald on Lee Sin?
Oh, you mean because I can't ward hop?
Yeah.
Oh, I always have two pinks in my inventory. If you look carefully, like at every
Okay,
time.
okay.
Yeah, I
See,
will
that's
always have
the
two
high
pinks.
elo play. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's
I
good.
mean, it's
Yep,
expensive, but
that's the
you know,
difference between the good and the great players, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Right. I always fat finger my pink wards on Lee Sin, so whenever I don't have my trinket ward and I pick up that Rift Herald buff, I'm really kicking myself in game.
That's understandable. Yeah, I have really customized hotkeys so that I don't do that. Like my pinks, I don't know if you noticed, well probably not, but throughout the game I reorganize my inventory constantly to make sure that everything's on the key I'm used to it being on, so that I never
Good.
mess that
Good.
up.
Yeah, really clean playing game 2. I don't know if there's much to talk through with the game 2 draft. Seemed pretty straightforward. You guys played it
Mhm.
really well.
Thank you. Yeah, we
Chief
were.
said, do you have anything else to add?
Well, do you wanna you were gonna say something there?
I was gonna say like I think they draft really well. Like we were really worried about the Zen Varus on. We pretty much knew they were gonna draft Zen Varus, and we still were like a little worried about it. But we knew Tristana was a pretty good matchup, and then the Ari was kind of scared me, which is like I didn't really want to play Lee Sin, but we ended up going Lee into Ari just because figured it's the only way to have kill pressure, and Lee into Zen is not that bad. So that was our thought process there. But I definitely think like even though the games like the score lines weren't close, like we were trying super hard, and I think the Poppies played really well. Like we were being super safe and careful the whole time, and I definitely we were super afraid of them. Like we definitely respected them in the draft, and I don't want to like BM them at all. Like I think they did great.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's
I mean,
something we
and we
noticed
actually were
too.
talking about it. I think, especially game 1, I think was a lot closer than the scoreline made it look. And
Yeah,
actually, if you watch the gold graph was actually fairly tight, even for the first 25, 30 minutes of the game when you guys were up 10 kills or so.
yeah. There were a few moments in the first game, like when I 2v1 Gwen with Poppy, she almost killed me, and if she had killed me there, I think it would have been a huge problem because we wouldn't have been able to answer
Yeah,
her
yeah.
anymore in her split. Actually, that could have swung the whole game. So like there are little moments like that that could have been really bad.
Yeah, because TTU Phoenix like had the edge in that top lane matchup, but it was only by like a hair a couple times. Like there are a couple flash autos to beat out the Gwen in the top lane, and without that, I think it would have been a much harder game to close out with the way that the draft showed up.
Yeah, the Gwen turned out to be really scary, honestly. Like,
That's yeah, there and a good reason you banned it the next game, right?
yeah, we kind of anticipated the Gwen, but I'm not gonna lie, like their second draft was kind of how we thought they would be drafting, more or less. Like we were more prepared for that. The first draft like knocked me on my ass when I saw the Lulu Gwen like right away, R1 and 2. That was really surprising, and we weren't ready. But I think Varus is insanely good into Lulu right now because he outranges her. So she doesn't really get to lane against him, and then he can go second item Serpent's Fang into her, which is just brutal. So I think that
And
was
is
a
that
huge edge.
is that kind of the idea behind the Varus being such a strong pick right now? The ability to build that
Well,
item?
it's yeah, you lose nothing for building it, and it invalidates pretty much every enchanter, which is he also wins every lane
Yeah.
pretty
Is
much.
there another AD carry
Serpents.
that can build
Yeah.
that as easily as Varus? I don't know if there is.
Uh, maybe Draven. You can go like Shield
Maybe
Bow, Serpent's
maybe
Fang on
Draven.
Draven. Yeah, probably nothing
It's
else.
kind of low AD though.
Yeah, I mean it's if you go the armor
Not
pen build, I
super
think
low
it's
AD.
you can go Eclipse on Draven too. So
Yeah,
maybe if you go
yeah.
like
You
Eclipse,
you
Serpent's Fang.
probably you probably could shoehorn that into a Senna build as well, but
True. Yeah, true. We don't play a lot of Senna though.
And I noticed you banned the Senna.
Serpent's
Can I
Fang is
ask
actually
if
just
that was
yeah.
you're afraid of like a Senna Tom Kench kind of situation in the
No,
bot lane? That was
so
one thing I noticed that
actually
was a little unexpected from my end.
It was unexpected for us too. So we're friends with them in the league client, and we saw them play a game right before, like literally 30 minutes before the game started, and they played Senna Ziggs and they dumpstered the enemy team. And we have literally nothing prepared to deal with that, and like had no idea of even, like, had no idea what we'd even draft into it. So we're like, okay, we got to break that up. And we
Well,
thought the
shoot,
Senna was the more
at the
problematic part.
at the very least they took a ban away from you guys with that stomp and the normal or whatever it was they played, right?
For sure, yeah. So yeah, no, I mean we were definitely really worried about the draft. Like we prepped it a long time. So.
So without giving anything away, is there anything you're anticipating for your next match? I believe next week against Team Tanuki. Have there been any talks yet about like when that match might come down?
Um, I don't know. We were trying to get it in actually before a week goes by because I have a tight schedule starting in a week.
Hmm.
The only thing I'd say in particular about our prep for Team Tanuki is that
And don't
they
give
have
anything too much away.
no, it's obvious. I mean, they know this. It's not a shock to anyone. But like we've seen from their games and the games they played against us that they're extremely good at picking up meta picks. So we're just assuming that we're gonna have to basically draft meta against them. Because I mean that's what they play. It's not a shocker to them. Like I'm sure they're gonna have whatever's broken, they're gonna be good at it.
Hmm.
And so that's a concern for me because we're not as meta of a team, and the Poppies weren't as meta of a team, so we could leave stuff like Nocturne open. That's obviously just not gonna happen against Tanuki because they're gonna learn it.
Hmm.
But other
Just
than
the
that,
wide
I mean, we're just
rules.
gonna play our best. I think if we play like we played today, we'll be a match for them for sure.
Well, looking forward to it. Any last unless there's another question from Robotics?
Nope, nope, I got nothing.
Any last comments on the game? Thoughts,
Um,
thanks you
Shout
want to
out to your
give,
sponsors.
shout outs to sponsors, etc.
I don't have any sponsors.
Last trash talk.
Yeah, just thanks to my team for like, this is my first season of Seal. I know Phoenix is like, I don't know if he founded Seal or just became one of the most, more prominent members, but like thanks to everyone who started this league. It's been really fun for sure. And like thanks to my team for inviting like taking on a new person. I'm the only new person this season and they've been really cool. So yeah, other than that, ZZ Dog for getting that fucking super mega death rocket on the first
Oh,
dragon. That made me like mutter under my breath for a solid minute. That pissed me off. So yeah. All right,
That was
that's all
pretty
I
funny.
got there really. So yeah, that was well
anyways, well,
played.
thank you so much for coming to chat with us, and thanks for the great games.
Cool. All right, thank you guys.
All right,
Thanks for
cheers.
casting. All right, bye bye.